Today we're going to be taking a look at the Toulmin Model of Argumentation, right? So we'll take a look at its different parts, the real-world example that I'm going to give you, and the sort of reasons why we should, take a look at this particular method towards argumentation, right? So first of all, what is it? The Toulmin Model of Argumentation essentially is a tool that will allow you to sort of evaluate arguments and determine the strengths and weaknesses of an argument, and therefore create judgment based off of that. Okay, the Toulmin method essentially is based off of three main parts of a triad, and this includes the claim sentence, the warrant sentence, and the ground sentence. Right. So I'm going to tell you about these different parts and give you a real-world example, and hopefully you'll be on your way towards making your own Toulmin argument, right? So we'll start off with the claim sentence. Now, just to kind of remind you, if there are any definitions that seem a little bit broad, hopefully they'll be clarified towards an example that I'm going to give you towards the end, okay? So no worries if you don't understand immediately. We'll sort of explain it a little bit more later, okay, in the video. All right, so taking a look at the claim sentence. Now, the claim sentence, simple. It's your thesis, right? It's the argument that you're making. It's your position. It's your own personal bias, right? You are basically saying this should happen. X should happen, okay? And you are basically taking a look at a controversial opinion for an effective claim, okay? So again, effective claims need to be controversial because you'll allow for better argumentation, and you can get different judgments from different sides and be able to back it up, okay, and defend your own arguments, right? Cool. So next we'll take a look at the ground sentence. Now the ground sentence, again, is pretty simple. Essentially, the ground sentence supports the claim sentence, right? So you want to give support and give evidence to the claim, right? This is also known as data, all right? So, different grounds have different reasons as to why a claim is correct. You're giving the sort of reasons, the X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z are the reasons why, the claim is correct, okay? So there you go, backing up your claim, right? Now, to something that a lot of people may not know about is the warrant sentence. The warrant sentence is pretty easy as well. It's essentially the underlying logic or the assumption or the reasoning that allows you to create the claim and connect it with the data, okay? Now, depending on the argument, there can be multiple warrants present, okay? That being said, the warrants within an argumentation for the Toulmin method are never explicitly stated, okay? They're the sort of things that you're thinking about and create value towards creating a claim, okay? So you already have the first part, right? You have the first part that is saying, okay, this is the argument that I'm making, okay? And now the warrant is the sort of reasoning, right? Why am I making this argument? Well, I, as a person who's making an argument, have certain values and ideas and beliefs that I hold true to myself, right? That allow me to create this particular argument, right? And want to persuade other people to think the same way, right? As we know, not everybody thinks the same way. Therefore, we all have different reasons and warrants as to why we are creating a certain claim, okay? So let me give you a real-world example so we can start applying these pieces together, all right? So we'll start this example with this idea of gun control, right? So the example shown says, I think we should ban handguns in this country. There is no practical necessity to own a handgun. I understand that some people like to collect handguns and others use them for sporting purposes, but if you want to defend yourself, you can just as well use a shotgun. It is too easy to conceal a handgun, so I think we should ban them, right? So what we have here is a Toulmin model of argumentation, and what we have here is this idea of a claim, evidence, and possible warrants that we can take a look at, right? Firstly, explicitly stated is the claim, and you'll see it towards the end and the very first sentence. It says, I think we should ban handguns in this country, right? It's a claim, and it's the opinion of the writer or the person who's making the argument. And you even see it towards the end. It says, I think we should ban them, right? So what we have there is that particular person's opinion on the matter, right? Next, we have the evidence, the sort of reasoning as to why we think this particular idea, right? And it should sort of back up the reasoning, right? And it says there is no practical necessity to own a handgun, right? Skipping down, it says if you need to defend yourself, you can just as well use a shotgun. It is too easy to conceal a handgun, right? Evidence right there is letting you know, okay, this is the reasoning. This is the reason why this is correct, okay? And it's explicitly written, right? Now, possible warrants, less obvious, okay? Again, these are just values, right? And these values are the ideas that are going through the person's mind while they're making the argumentation that allow you to kind of say, okay, that's where they're coming from, right? So, for example, possible warrants could be, well, self-defense is a practical necessity. Sport is not a practical necessity. The government can ban dangerous things, and handgun is more dangerous than a shotgun, and small weapons are more dangerous and easier to conceal than bigger weapons, right? And so what we have right here are the 5 values that the person holds to them that allows them to create this conversation, right? This whole claim, right? And those are 5 values are the warrants, right? Again, there can be many different type of warrants depending on the conversation that we're having or the argument that we're trying to make, okay? And essentially, when you're taking a look at the Toulmin method and breaking it down into its different parts, this essentially is what good public debate it's about, right? It's about taking a look at the sort of underlying logic of an argument and getting at those issues. And that's what creates good argumentation, right? And good writing, essentially, you know, because you're able to persuade other people and understand the reasoning why you're able to persuade other people, right? And that's basically it. So hopefully you'll be on your way towards writing your own Toulmin argument. And that's pretty much it.